Hey, it's Brooke from Green Door Virtual. Today I want to talk to you about what to do if you've hit the wall of unproductivity or resistance or inertia in your business. You're having a day maybe right now where you are not feeling motivated to do all of the things that you need to do. I want to give you maybe a different way of looking at that and maybe some strategies to try to make today as successful as possible. Before I get into that, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you could subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. And if you found some value at the end of this video, if you could give it a thumbs up, that would be awesome. If you're not familiar with me or Green Door Virtual or why I'm qualified to talk about this, I've owned Green Door Virtual for the last 8 years. We help small businesses with a lot of their practical and systems and operational strategy. And as well, we take a really holistic approach to looking at the whole business. I'm making this video because this week I had a day where I literally hit the wall of unproductivity and was feeling super unmotivated to do a laundry list of things that I needed to do within my own business. And I'm guessing that if you're watching this, you're experiencing this as well, or maybe this has happened to you in the past where we're just feeling not very worky today. So this kind of caught me off guard. It was midweek, normally around, Friday at 1, I'm feeling not very worky and just want to get on with the weekend. But this week it was midweek and unexpected, and there was a lot of stuff to do. And what would happen for me is I would feel unmotivated, beat myself up for feeling unmotivated, look at the laundry list of things to do, feel anxiety and guilt about why they're not getting done, or start doing them, take twice as long to do them because my head is not in the game, or feel guilty about why I'm avoiding them. So that's adding to stress. It's not productive. It's not efficient. No. This time I handled it a little bit differently. So as human beings, as a person with a brain and a soul and a heart, we are not meant to produce 24/7. We're not. That means sometimes we do work very, very hard, and that means sometimes we don't, and we need to take a time out. And our society really values the hustle and the grind, and sometimes that's okay. I'm trying to remove hustle from my vocabulary because it was a word that I used to use a lot, but I actually don't think there's a lot of power in it. So sometimes it may actually be more productive for you to take a time out. And that's what I did yesterday. So I was feeling exhausted. I was feeling unworky. I was feeling like my brain was not going to play. It was just not going to happen. And a lot of my work involves a lot of brain power, a lot of logic, a lot of thinking. It was just not gonna have anything to do with it. I had a couple of in-person meetings in the morning, and basically I looked at my to-do list and thought, what has to get done today? And I actually challenged myself on the answer to that, because if I really looked at things, there were some things that didn't really have to get done today. In my brain, it was like, well, this has to happen, this has to happen. But is anything gonna fall apart if those things don't happen? No, everything will still be there tomorrow. Sometimes that's not always possible, but I want you to challenge yourself as to how much pressure you're putting on yourself on a day like that to have to get things out the door. I'm not saying to always put things off to the next day, and that's not a habit that you want to get into. But on these days where you are feeling really exhausted and really unmotivated, I want you to give yourself permission to take a time out if that's what you really need, and take some time to do what you need to do to recharge your energy batteries. So my strategy yesterday was to listen to my body and listen to what I needed as a human being and not as a producer. And that was to challenge what actually had to get done. It was also to meet any urgent commitments that needed to get met. So my face-to-face meetings still happened. Feel free to cancel those if that's something that is just going to add to your stress or add to your lack of energy. For me, they weren't going to, so that was okay. And then I gave myself permission. So normally I'm very regimented and disciplined as I work from home, but I gave myself permission to bring my laptop to the couch, get a nice warm blankie, and throw on a movie, which I would normally never, ever, ever do during a work day. And I'm not saying if you do that, it's wrong. I just don't do it. And for me, that was feeling like I was giving myself permission to have a little bit of downtime. and I decided I was going to do whatever I could, and that was it. And there was no pressure to get anything else out the door. There was a couple things I could delegate out to my team to get done that I didn't really need to have my hands involved in. And it felt like I gave myself some time to really listen to what I needed to do and not produce. It was like I took the pressure completely out of the day, which really refueled my system. So I ended up watching 3 movies. I had a nap. I went out for a walk and got some fresh air. In the meantime, I did a little bit of work here and there. But basically, I really listened to my body and honored what I needed for that day, not what everybody else needed, not answering everybody else's emails, not responding to everybody else's requests that weren't necessarily really super high priority for that instant. And my highest priority yesterday was to recharge and refuel, because that's what my body needed. So in the book, The 4 Agreements, one of the agreements is always do your best. And it says that your best each day is going to change based on how you're feeling, what your energy levels are. I realized I needed to adjust my best for that day and give myself permission to say it was okay if all of this shit isn't going to get out the door, because for some reason my body really needs that time to rest and relax. So maybe you don't work from home and you can't snuggle under the blanket and watch movies all day and dabble on your laptop, which I totally get. I've been there too. So here's some strategies to try to recharge. And that is, look at what you have to do that day and question what actually needs to get done. So question your should list and really be honest with yourself about what's realistic. I tend to take a big bite out of a lot of things and put them on my to-do list, and it's not always realistic to get them done in one day. So really question your to-do list for that day and what can you just say no to. Honor those boundaries, delegate as much as you can to other people. Give yourself permission to just take some time out. Maybe take some extra breaks. Maybe you take a walk at lunch. Maybe you do something a little bit differently that normally you don't do if you're super disciplined. Maybe you have something super comforting for lunch. Maybe as soon as you get home, you crawl into bed. But give yourself permission to have that day and do what you need to do to recharge your batteries, and realize and understand that we're not always going to be productive. There's no reason to feel guilty about having an unproductive day. And sometimes by just taking some time for yourself and honoring what you need to do is the most productive thing that you can actually do. We have a society that feels a little bit differently about this. So to wrap our head around it and put this into practice can be tricky. But let's make it a practice to try to do this and really honor what we need to do. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with is that after I took some time out and rested and recharged, even though things still got done, things still moved forward, it just wasn't the whole to-do list. Like sometimes we need to just chuck our fucking to-do list out the window. Today I have a lot more energy than I did yesterday. So today will likely be a lot more productive than yesterday, obviously, and probably even the day before that. So know that unproductive days happen. Know that if you're feeling like you're not moving forward or that you're stuck, sometimes we just need to sit with that and allow it to be there. Thanks for watching.